I think I would avoid situationships like the plague. I think the part of the definition that Tam kind of touched basis on was it remains undefined, like that gray area of confusion where it's just like if you don't have clear intentions with me, I'm certainly not going to be giving you access to my body. I'm not going to be giving you access to my intimacy, my intimate space. Like we're playing house without the house. We're engaging in all of this behavior and this activity that should be leading us in a different direction, but we're not going in that direction. I don't know what I want. And it's just like, I don't have time for the indecisiveness. I don't have time for a man that doesn't, is not clear on his plan, not clear on his intentions with me. And if you can't commit to me, why would I give you my body? Like, why would I allow you to have access to me in those kinds of intimate ways when you really don't want me fully? You just want parts of me. And it's just like, no.
How does a woman decide whether she wants a situationship with a guy? Is there like a certain standard that comes across, and why? Like, how do they come about?
I got distracted. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
You go last. Y'all, it's a holiday weekend. She's in a club atmosphere. Somebody buying a table.
I guess how do a woman finds herself in a situationship? Are women just signing up for those? Inquiring minds.
That's what it look like. I believe it's more of those than marriages. I wouldn't believe.
So I guess I've got a few different opinions. It just depends, right? So going back to what you said, Tam, do women sign up for those? It could be a woman is just dating guys, right? You're dating a guy and you just happen to like what you hear, you like what you feel, and you just kind of stumble upon a situationship. You didn't plan on dating this guy or committing to this guy or lingering and doing things with this person longer than you intended, or maybe you just didn't even know what to expect with this guy. And because of certain things, the way he makes you feel, the way he treats you, the way the way you act when you're around him, it just kind of happens and you find yourself in this situationship. And then you got other women who are intentional. They don't want a commitment, right? They're looking for a situationship. They don't want a man who's clingy. They don't want a man who's all into them. They just want a situationship. That's it.
Well, that's why there's women who are okay being the side piece. I mean, it's all the same. It's a situationship, whatever you want to define it as. They're okay with being in that position. They don't want anything more, and they're content with that. Mistaken as to define situationship, Shantae. By the way, a good definition never hurt anybody.
Well, I don't have, our Google chick is not here today, but I've always thought of situationship is we just in this situation. We're not in a committed relationship, but we got something going on. It's just it can be any kind of situation. Would it be a booty call? It can be so I like him, but not quite. He hasn't asked me for a relationship. It could be friends with benefits, situationship.
I got the definition.
So is that a bad thing?
Thank you, Tam.
It says a romantic or sexual relationship that is not considered to be formal or established.
Is that a bad thing?
A situation. I think it depends on you.
Because depends on the person.
Yeah,
you're right. But I'm just saying, Miss Cece, you just said that's why some people are cool with being side chicks. I don't think that necessarily just because you're in a situationship with someone that necessarily means that you are their side chick. It's just maybe something that once again y'all dating, y'all like each other. Things move forward to like Ms. Tan said. The way he makes you feel. You know what I'm saying? And he might not be ready, she might not be ready, but that's somebody you're comfortable with, and you don't want to go around sleeping and dating so many other people, but that's somebody you're comfortable with. I don't necessarily think that means that you're being a side chick,
Right. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. You could be, a situationship could be more than just that category of being a side chick. I mean, it could just be you and the man. It doesn't have to necessarily mean that there's somebody in another party involved. I was just saying, giving an example of someone who would choose to be in a situationship. And that was an example I gave. It wasn't just like an end all as a definition.
Okay.
I think I would avoid situationships like the plague. I think the part of the definition that Tam kind of touched basis on was it remains undefined, like that gray area of confusion where it's just like if you don't have clear intentions with me, I'm certainly not going to be giving you access to my body. I'm not going to be giving you access to my intimacy, my intimate space. Like we're playing house without the house. We're engaging in all of this behavior and this activity that should be leading us in a different direction, but we're not going in that direction. I don't know what I want. And it's just like, I don't have time for the indecisiveness. I don't have time for a man that doesn't, is not clear on his plan, not clear on his intentions with me. And if you can't commit to me, why would I give you my body? Like, why would I allow you to have access to me in those kinds of intimate ways when you really don't want me fully? You just want parts of me. And it's just like, no.
So what if
Well,
it
some
is
females might
Oh,
want
go
that?
right, I was like, what if it's discussed and
I'm saying
defined?
some females might want themselves.
It could be discussed and defined that this is all it's going to be, and I think some people would be okay with that. I understand what you're saying, though, Della. You're saying I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. No, I got what you're saying, hon.
So let me ask you a question then. Are women really satisfied with a situationship? Do you think that there are ulterior, like there's a motive there? Or
I think some. I mean, I think
what the percentage? Why we're talking about in general.
I think
We know that there's a few freak neat wannabe. I'm talking about in.
I think majority are waiting for the moment.
I think some women find themselves in one without even, like Tan said, without even trying to be in one. They kind of stumbled and fell into one, I guess. But I don't think the majority of women are striving for a situationship. But I think there are some women, maybe younger women, that are probably like, they probably having a hot girl summer. So I'm assuming hot girl summer comes with some situationships. I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming.
I think most women, even the ones who go into a situationship, I guess we'll call it, most women eventually want more than platonic friendship or benefits. I hear what some women say, but most of the time, even if a woman, fellas, who is okay with being your friend with benefits, stick with them long enough, more than likely, they're going to want more. That's just my experience.
If she likes
people
him,
already in relationships,
I completely agree.
in situationships.
What'd you say, T-Mom?
I said some people are in relationships knowing and not knowing that they're in situationships. So
That's true.
And it's all because of that lack of clarity. Like there's no clarity, there's no certainty on what this situation is. So it's now a situationship. Like, what is the intent? Where are we going? Like,
ask questions.
Ask questions, honey.
So who in the
what we doing?
Day,
what are we?
Who does the situationship benefit the most?
Probably the man. Probably.
it depends. I think.
Yeah, I think it depends.
Depends on what.
Who's giving?
It depends because that woman might just need to get her rocks off too. You know what I'm saying? Like women are beasts too. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just okay. He get his nut. Excuse me. She might need to get hers too. Bye. Thank you.
Anybody else wanted to?
No feelings attached.
I think it depends on the relationship, just like Della said, like who's getting more out of it. It could be there are men who really are head over heels for women, and that woman could care less about their feelings, right? And it's just like you said, it's just sex and emotionless, and that man could be emotionally involved. I think it depends on who's more emotionally involved than not, as far as who's benefiting it the most.
Anybody else wanted to answer that question? So when you
But then we can always talk about YouTube University and what they say. The men are poking, so the women are being used.
Right. So my question is, so knowing this bit of information, you know, for the vast majority of women. So because let's just be real, a lot of people are in situationships. Marriages are not just we're at least married. Okay. So with that being said, do you think that because of the numbers, most women who are in situationships want to be in situationships? Honestly. Or do you think situationship, she's using the situationship to get what she really wants?
Again, I would say majority of women are waiting for their moment. I'm gonna stick around and see what I could. Eventually, he'll change his mind. Eventually, he'll pick me.
Agreed.
So
That's why women stay around.
I think majority of the women. Now, I'm not going to say there aren't women who are fine with just, you know, I could just have sex. I could just have a relationship and be fine in that position and not want more. So I think it's very few and far in between. But there are women who that's exactly what they're doing. They're waiting. Men do the same thing that are friend zoned as well. Like they are waiting for that woman to turn around and say, "Oh, you're it."
So do you think that because it sounds like what you're explaining to me is a booty call?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
They're waiting, or maybe they're waiting for someone better to come along, so they're passing time with you.
Oh, does he know?
There's that too. Yeah. So I mean, there are multiple.
Not speaking from experience. I'm asking, like that's a valid point too. Some are hoping like, okay, he or she is going to come around and pick me. But then there's also maybe some of them are using that person to pass the time because they're thinking they're waiting on somebody else to come along that's better. I mean, it's messed up, but
it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. There are people who have conversations with men and hang out with men they're not having sex with. So it's not necessarily a booty call either.
So let me ask you a question. What do we call a relationship that's never getting to marriage?
A waste of time.
A waste of time.
So I would consider that as because one of the people in the chat said, "Can we get people on the panel who've been in situationships before?" And I would say I've been in a situationship before because to me, if it does not lead, because it's either you're single or you're married. Anything in between that is a situation. We don't know where that situation gonna take us. You feel what I'm saying? So let's not act like we are like. I've never been in a situationship before. You know? Yes, you have.
I think more so
right now.
I think it's more so like when you're in a relationship where you don't have that intent. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like you very well may not be married, but you're in a long-term relationship and you have the intention of taking it to that next step where although it may never get to that space, you know, you both have your intentions set to take it there versus being in a relationship, you know, to your point, like when you were younger, when we were all, you know, and you don't really know where this is going. We're just passing time by. This feels good for the moment. Like you're probably not the ideal person for me long-term, but we're here now. So I would say that would be more of like from my perspective of like, you know, the situationship.
But then you look up and years done went past. Now you done wasted your good youthful years.
That was my point. Because I'm thinking to myself,
the situationship. That was a long situation.
You have to communicate. So if it's a situationship, if the guy knows, or if I know, if I'm in a situation and I'm, you know, not ready for a relationship, I'm going to let you know. Like, hey, I just want us to have fun, date, hang out, you know, kick it from time to time. So that guy knows what he's getting himself into, vice versa. I feel like the man should let him know, like, listen, shorty, I'm not trying to be in a relationship, blah, blah, but if you still want to kick it, hang out, then cool. So then that way you can program your mind, like, I mean, I'm not saying that this works for everybody, but you can program your mind, like okay, well, I know that we're not going to go further. We're just having fun, enjoying each other's time. So I can still find my Prince Charming somewhere else, but right now, you know.
So I
think you just have to communicate.
So let me ask you a question. Can you find your Prince, if you have a situationship going on and you have been doing this with this guy for a year or year plus, can you really find your Prince Charming? I mean, as a woman, because we're emotional creatures, Would it not be hard for you to separate the two? Because more than likely, you got some type of attachment to this guy. Team Della says it all the time. That's the most intimacy. It's the closest thing to an attachment that you can, you know, I know you know her words. You want to say them over again. You know, that's the closest thing to bonding or whatever words you use that there possibly is. So you're giving this guy your body, but you're out trying to find another guy. Are you really going to be able to be into this new guy if you found him, if you have a situationship going on?
How many situations have you heard of? Not saying that this is right. Not that this is right, but there has been people that have been in relationships and then went to and got married to somebody else. They've been married and then married somebody else. So it can happen.
That's men, though.
That's unfortunate.
Most of the time, the woman has stopped giving you that.
Too. It's women too. It's both
but
of us.
Don't they stop giving up the vagina at some point? They're like telltales, like, oh, she's not having sex with him anymore. She's cut it off. Because I would hope that women aren't doing both.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. They shouldn't be doing both, but I'm just saying, like, if you're
no, go ahead, T-Bomb.
I'm sorry. If you are kicking it with this person and you know what it is, but then you really, you know that they're not in a relationship, but you know you need to get your needs fulfilled, but you start dating somebody else and you're feeling them, okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, let brother know, you know, I'm seeing somebody else, you know, we're gonna have to cut off all the you know, shenanigans, and then date the person that you know, give it a try with the person that you met.